Today, we'll wrap up the 2013 golf season with a full review of the majors, hot and cold players, and the national team program.
This is SCOREGolf, the voice of Canadian golf. SCOREGolf is brought to you by Molson Canadian 67, official beer of the PGA of Canada, RBC Canadian Open, and Canadian Women's Open. Tailor-made golf, the #1 driver in golf. GolfKelowna.com. 20 courses, from easygoing to ego-shattering. Now, here's your host, Bob Weeks.
Hello, Canada, and welcome to another edition of Score Golf TV. In fact, it is our final edition for the 2013 season. We are going to look back at this year in golf, from the major championship winners to the performances of the Canadians, especially, of course, Graham Dillette. We're going to look at who went up this year and, well, who dropped this season. But the hot topic this week, of course, is the final big event on the calendar. It's the President's Cup, and we had a chance to chat with the competitors on both teams. Each year after the PGA Tour season concludes, many of the world's best golfers are pitted against one another in a team match play competition representing a country, continent, or collection of both. This October, the eagerly anticipated President's Cup returns to center stage. Canadians will have extra incentive to cheer on the underdog international team this time around, since it features rising star Graham Dillette. The Saskatchewan native will become just the second Canadian to compete in the event after Mike Weir, who did so 5 consecutive times between 2000 and 2009. Dillette and his international teammates will head into battle at Muirfield Village in Columbus, Ohio. Though the Jack Nicklaus-designed gem will be a familiar challenge for players who tee it up at the Memorial Tournament every year, it will surely provide a fantastic theater for drama to unfold.
It's going to be a great venue. You know, the golf course is so phenomenal, especially sets up really well for match play. You know, nobody's ever seen match play on the golf course before, or it's been a long time since it's been on that golf course. It'd be a really cool atmosphere and venue for it, you know, and having Jack's fingerprints are all over the President's Cup. He's probably as big a reason as anybody that's been so successful. Think about how many teams he's captained and how important it's been to him. So for us to be there and playing on his home track, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, I think it's a fan-friendly kind of a golf course, and I think you know, I feel like it's kind of almost played kind of like Augusta, where the crowd's just gonna kind of go through the trees, and you know, you're gonna hear what's happening on 14 or even 11 or 12 and stuff when you're teeing off on 1 and even on the front 9. And I think, you know, Columbus, you know, the people that are going to be coming into town, I know that it's going to be a very fun week for them. I know it's going to be loud, which is going to be kind of cool. You know, obviously, you know, we're the internationals, so they're going to be cheering for the US side, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
You know, I've played the event twice now, and you know, the golf course has never been anything but immaculate condition. So you know, it's going to be one to remember. Everybody knows Muirfield is a tough golf course. You know, I think it's playing into the US team's hands a little bit more than the internationals, but you know, it's one of those courses where, you know, take a couple of chances and you pull it off, and you know, you can make a move.
Muirfield's one of the best courses we play again. You know, we got a lot of iconic holes and iconic golf moments that have happened at that course, and this President's Cup will only add to that.
Well, I think it deserves to be there. You know, Jack has gone out of his way to make the President's Cup a success. He's done all the right things for it, and definitely deserves to go to Muirfield, and that golf course deserves an event like this. It's a great golf course, and I think it's going to be a great match play golf course. It's had a Ryder Cup in the past, but we're going to see a great course that we see every June played a little differently in October, and provide a lot of excitement.
While 2013 marks the 10th edition of the biennial event, the Internationals have so far proven to be no match for an always stacked U.S. squad. Having hoisted the President's Cup only once in 9 tries, erasing the U.S.'s dominance is priority number 1.
You know, I'd dearly love to win this year, and I think having Pricey as a captain is going to be a lot of fun, and our assistant captains are a lot of fun. But I really do feel the internationals need to step up and win the thing and make it a real competition, because I'm tired of getting killed out there. So, you know, this is a big year for us. I think we've got good knowledge of the course, and when we do win and win again, I think we're going to have this competition grow bigger and bigger, and in time it's going to be something to rival the Ryder Cup.
I think once we start winning, I think it's going to just even grow bigger and bigger and bigger from there. But you know, right now I don't think anyone's kind of feeling the pressure. I think we just got to go out there as a team and just play. So it's kind of it's so young in its age, the President's Cup. So it's really, you know, it's kind of like the Ryder Cup when, you know, it was just so one-sided at one point, and then then it started to mix up a little bit with, you know, both sides winning.
You know, I think it's probably has to do with how much more relaxed the guys are. You know, it seems like to me, after being on a Ryder Cup team, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves on that Ryder Cup. You know, it's very, very tough week. We don't really have a lot of fun. You know, I mean, it's just you're wanting to win so bad. I think the President's Cup's a little bit more laid back. You know, and playing for guys like Freddie and Jack and those kind of guys, pretty easy to get along with. You know, and they make it pretty easy on us. So, and I think every competition's been really close. You know, they could have gone either way. It just seems like every year the U.S. is. The years that they've won, they've seemed to find a way to make those key putts when they needed to.
Yeah, I might be mistaken, but the 10th place player is probably going to be outside the top 50 in the world. You know, and then obviously 2 wild card picks as well, which is going to be probably on form players, which is probably going to be inside the top 60. But if you look at the guys in the US team, you know, there's nobody out of the top 20 in the world, which is pretty remarkable.
I think the international team in the President's Cup is always a great team. They always have amazing players. I always have great Australians, like you said. And, you know, you got major winners in there. And, you know, they're a tough team every time, you know, they go out and play. It's just a matter of time before they get it rolling. So, you know, it's going to be a great President's Cup.
Coming up next, we'll talk to Brandt Snedeker, this year's RBC Canadian Open champion. Welcome back to Score Golf TV's look back at the year in golf 2013, and it's time to focus on the majors, and to do that we've brought in the editor of Score Golf magazine, Jason Logan. And Jason, I think if there was a theme to the majors this year, it would probably be guys who we thought could win the major championships finally got the job done.
Yeah, and I think on top of most people's list as the best player not to win a major prior to this year would have been Adam Scott. Adam Scott had a close call at the Open Championship in 2012, bogeys the last 4 holes, but then he comes to the Masters, he plays fantastic golf, gets into a playoff, and then birdies the second playoff hole. So it was great to see both of those guys, him and Cabrera, play well. Scott comes out on top. Then we go to Marion and a player, Justin Rose, who had some experience at major championships as a teenager, puts on one of the best ball striking performances we've seen, especially in the final round, especially on the last 2 holes to win there. And then what can you say about Jason Duffner? He's almost Hogan-esque with his ball striking on a tough Oak Hill golf course. He made it look really easy. Of course, he had some help from Jim Furyk, but I think he was a deserving champion because he had a close call at the PGA 2 years ago.
Made it look like he was bored too, obviously. That's kind of Jason Duffner's MO. The 4th member of the major championship group, of course, was Phil Mickelson, and I think when you look at Phil Mickelson, you never expected him to win the British Open, but there he was with an amazing putting performance, really all wrapped up down the final 9 holes especially, to raise that claret jug. It's certainly something I never thought I would see with him over at the British Open, but he got the job done. The one more major in our country anyway, the 5th major, so to speak, is the RBC Canadian Open, and there were a lot of great stories about this year's championship.
Absolutely, and it started with Hunter Mahan exiting the property when he had the 36-hole lead because his wife Candy went into labor, and I think everybody thought he did the right thing. He was playing so well that it looked like he'd be hard to beat, but it opened the door for another popular champion, another marquee name in the tournament, Brandt Snedeker, and you know, he wins when Dustin Johnson sort of throws it away on the 71st hole, but a popular win because his caddy, Scott Vail, is from Oshawa, Ontario, and so for him it was a sense that he had won his national championship as well.
Well, I had a chance to chat with Brandt Snedeker shortly after he won that RBC Canadian Open, and here's our conversation. All right, Brandt Snedeker, RBC Canadian Open champion, congratulations. Yesterday in this room you said, we asked you if it was easy as it looked, and you said no, it was hard. I imagine today was a little bit harder out there as well with the conditions. Can you just talk about those?
Yeah, today was really tough. The wind was really gusting at times, getting pretty heavy, and you know, it seemed like every hole was a crosswind, and you're really having to work hard to put the ball in the right spots. And greens firmed up course played a lot different today than it had the first 3 days, and so you had to adjust on the fly and try to go out there and realize that par was a good score. If you get a few birdies here and there and pick up some on the field, it'd be great, but not to try to be too aggressive today.
Earlier in your career, you were known as a guy who couldn't really close tournaments out very well. Today, 3 up and downs out of the bunker on the front side, a beautiful, if you can call it a beautiful bogey on 12.
Yeah.
Is that the difference in Brandt Snedeker now? In your
Yeah,
game?
yeah. I just feel like there's a lot less panic now. I realize that there's a lot of golf out there that it's not going to be pretty. It doesn't have to be pretty to win, and to go out there and just do everything I can to control what I can control. And I did a great job of staying in the present today and taking each shot as it came and trying to do my best on every one of them. And it's amazing when you do the small stuff well, the big stuff take care of itself.
Second win of the year. This one comes after the injury. Of course, you're on your way back. You talked about how you're almost back there. A national championship, does it have any more prestige for you than the other ones?
For sure, yeah. Having an Open championship, that's unbelievable. Canadian Open, one of the third, I think it's the third oldest tournament on the PGA Tour schedule. The names on this trophy are pretty phenomenal, and to put my name on that trophy is been a dream of mine, especially having a Canadian on the bag. I realize how big this is.
I was going to ask you about that. 59 years since the Canadians won this tournament. We're not counting you as a Canadian winning, but we're pretty close with Scott.
Yeah.
What do you think this means to him?
It means a ton. I know this is. He was definitely more excited today when we got done than any other one of our wins, and he kept talking about it when he was coming back here because we knew we played this course really well, and this was one we circled. And especially, I know he's ecstatic through the moon right now, and we're gonna have a lot of fun tonight.
All right, congratulations, Brent.
Thanks a lot, appreciate it.
Coming up, we'll talk about who's trending up and who's trending down on the PGA Tour. Welcome back to ScoreGolf TV, and Jason, Logan, over the course of a season and over the course of a number of seasons, we see players go up and down and a lot of movement, but one guy who always almost seems to be there is Tiger Woods, and he's back on top again this year.
Yeah, it's funny when you analyze Tiger wins. He wins more tournaments than everybody else. He wins more money than everybody else. His stats indicate that he's the best player on the tour by a wide margin. But he didn't win a major, and when we talk about Tiger Woods, we have to talk about his major drought that now goes back to 2008. And I think when you really look at it, it's just his play on the weekend doesn't match what it did earlier in his career, and the stats indicate that when it comes to Saturday and Sunday, his round totals go up, and he just can't get the job done in the end, and it's sort of a mystery.
Well, he finished the year as #1 on the official World Golf Rankings. The guy who was #1 coming in the start of the year dropped, and that is Rory McIlroy, and there are a lot of question marks about Rory McIlroy's performance. Of course, there's all the talk about his switch to a Nike golf equipment, and one thing that gets left out of that conversation a lot is the switch to the Nike golf ball, which I think may be more of an adjustment than the clubs. There's, of course, his moving into Florida into a big house. There's his attention with his girlfriend, Caroline Wozniacki, but I think when it comes right down to it, Rory just has some swing flaws that he isn't able to iron out. And it's frustrating to him. You can see how hard he's working, how much he has to deal with the questions all the time, and he's just not getting any results. So hopefully 2014 will be a little bit better for Rory McIlroy. Now, our own personal up and downs. There were a lot of players who experienced good years and bad years. Let's talk about, first of all, your birdie. Who do you think had a good year this year?
Billy Horschel. I was really impressed with this kid. You got to remember, Billy Horschel was a highly touted amateur player before he turned pro. He was a 4-time All-American. He won 2 SEC Player of the Years. He was on the Walker Cup. He turns pro, he gets hurt, and then he goes through many years of struggle. Had to go back to PGA Tour Q School 4 times, including last year, and then he comes out and he sets the world on fire in April, culminating in that win in New Orleans. So fantastic stuff for him, and not to mention all 18 greens in regulation in the US Open round. That's pretty hard to do.
Well, the guy I picked for my birdie of the year is Henrik Stenson, and what a season he has had considering what he did last year. I mean, he only qualified for 1 major last year, and that was only because of his win at the Players' Championship. That was the Masters, didn't play in the other 3. Really had a terrible year. In fact, 2 years ago, he went home to Sweden, couldn't even win his club championship. This year, a big turnaround, 2 great finishes in majors, a 2nd at the British Open, a 3rd at the PGA Championship, and all the stuff he did in the FedEx Cup, of course. What a season it was for Henrik Stenson, a turnaround season for him. On the other side of the coin, how about your bogey?
Carl Peterson is my bogey, former RBC Canadian Open champion in 2010, and I think last year he had what we thought was that breakout year that was going to propel him to contend more in major championships. He won, he had a couple of runner-ups, he had a 3rd, he was right in the hunt there at Kiowa Island with Rory McIlroy. And then this year, 1 top 10, and that being in the season opening 30-man field event. That's incredible for him. And ironically, it all comes down to his putter. He uses that long wand. He experimented a little with his short putter in a couple of tournaments, but it's kind of scary for a guy that's going to not have that long wand to rely on. He can't even use that very good, at least this year.
Well, my bogey is another guy who looked like he was going to have a breakout season this year, Nicholas Colsaerts, the long-hitting Belgian who performed really well in the limited starts he had on the PGA Tour towards the end of last year. I think that we expected him to do a little bit more, especially after that Ryder Cup performance. 8 birdies and an eagle to basically single-handedly take off Tiger Woods and Steve Stricker. And this year came out and really kind of fizzled. He missed the cut in 3 of 4 majors. Just barely kept his card by finishing inside the top 125, did not qualify for the FedEx Cup playoffs, and I think a lot of people were thinking this was going to be a bigger year for Nicholas Colsaerts. A couple of guys who had great years were Canadians David Hearn and Graham Dillette. Let's hear from them now. David Hearn was one of 5 Canadians on the PGA Tour in 2013 and finished second in that group behind only Graham Dillette. This season, he earned more than $1.1 million and had 2 top 10 finishes. However, it was a second-place finish at the John Deere Classic that was Hearn's most memorable tournament. He finished runner-up in a playoff loss to upcoming Tour star Jordan Spieth.
I've been out here for a few years now, and I haven't had too many opportunities like I did there. And I'd love to be that guy that makes those putts every time when you need it. But overall, it was a big step forward for me in my career, and I handled that situation very well. And we work hard all the time, and that's what we play for, is to be in contention on Sundays. And it was a lot of fun, actually. I really enjoyed it, being in that final group and being on that stage. Like I say, I'd love to pull one of those off one day soon. So I'm working hard to get back there soon. A lot of players, really good players, have been out here a long time and only have a handful of wins. So it's not easy, and sometimes there's things out of your control that are the end. That end up being the result of the tournament, that things that you can't really control. So we work hard to control what we can do, and I feel like my game's at a level where when I play my game I can win out here, and I'm excited to hopefully get in that situation again soon.
After finishing in the top 100 on the money list and in the top 60 of the FedEx Cup standings, Hearn has guaranteed himself a spot on the PGA Tour in 2014. Perhaps this could be the year for his first PGA Tour victory.
Every offseason we kind of look at what we can do a little bit better, and my coach and I, at the end of last year, we felt like we had a great FedEx Cup playoff run, and we felt like I could be a bit more consistent throughout the year, and I really just spent a lot of time hitting wedge shots, just 100 yards and in. I think a lot of guys do that, but I really didn't hit any full shots in the offseason. I just hit a lot of 20, 30, 40, up to 100-yard shots in the offseason, and that part of my game has been a lot better this year for sure.
Graham Dillette was the top Canadian performer on the PGA Tour this year, with 7 top 10 finishes and more than $2.7 million in earnings.
Starting the season, it was to make the President's Cup team and be at the Tour Championship. Those were my 2 kind of main outcome goals, and able to achieve both of them. I think as much as anything, I feel like I belong out here more than I have in the past couple of years. My confidence is there, and just kind of playing golf courses for this 3rd and 4th time, and being comfortable in the surroundings and in the locker room. And when you see some of the high-profile guys, I'm not intimidated. Now I can call a lot of those guys my friends. So I'm, more than anything, I'm just more comfortable being in this position. And I've been making a few more putts this year too. It's been a huge improvement over the last couple of years. So those would be kind of the main reasons. I'm here in Atlanta right now.
With a tie for second at the Barclays, Dillette earned a spot on the international team in this year's President's Cup.
It's going to be super exciting. When I first found out that I'd made the top 10 and gotten on the team, for 2 or 3 days I was just so jacked up. And now, kind of looking forward, now that it's kind of all sunk in, it's more like excitement, and starting next week with my preparation for the going into Columbus, it'll be what can I do to get make sure that my game's where it needs to be to help my team win. And it's exciting. We've got a great team, they've got a great team, and it's going to be an unbelievable week representing not only Canada but the rest of the world as well. And it's just going to be a really cool atmosphere.
For the Canadian, it was a season to remember, and one that's established him as a golfer with an incredibly bright future on the PGA Tour.
The main thing, I mean, I'm going to get in probably all the majors and at least the early world golf events. So that's a big change for me. Instead of playing some of the opposite field events, I'll be playing in some of the big ones, being top 50 in the world now. So now it's kind of trying to maintain that top 50 in the world and move up if possible. Going into those kind of events, I mean, you're playing with the best players in the world every single week in those. And, you know, there's small fields, obviously, which, you know, helps you maintain that money list and the world rankings. But more than anything, it's just rubbing shoulders and playing with the best players in the world as much as you can. And just, like I said before, just kind of being more comfortable in those situations. And the more times you're playing with those kind of guys, you know, the easier it starts to become.
When we return, we'll recap the season that the Canadians had out on the links. Welcome back to ScoreGolf TV. Well, the Canadians had an up and down performance, of course, topped off by Graham Dillette, but there were some other performances down at the Web.com Tour level that were perhaps a little bit disappointing. And Jason, as we discuss it, obviously let's start with the bright spots. And I think the three youngest Canadians, let's put it that way, on the PGA Tour kind of distinguished themselves this year.
They did, and certainly you start with Dillette, as you mentioned, and I think he said something very revealing this year at Glen Abbey at the RBC Canadian Open. Of that term, he said, "I used to come in here hoping I would play well. Now I come in here knowing I can play well." And I think that pretty much sums up his entire season. I think he knows he belongs. He knows he's as good or better than anybody else out there. David Hearn had a slow start, but as he always does, he came on strong when the summer hit. Of course, had that near miss at the John Deere Classic, which I know he was a little bit disappointed. I know he was disappointed he didn't get to Atlanta, but overall, a really good year. And Brad Fritz was kind of the opposite. He started really good. He had a top 10 finish at Torrey Pines, playing right in front of Tiger Woods, and kind of leveled off a bit as the summer went along, had a back injury that forced him out of the RBC Canadian Open, had to go back to that Web.com Tour Finals, but finishing 129th on the money list isn't that bad. He's going to get some starts next year. He'll get some starts right away in October, actually.
Well, the two veterans on the PGA Tour, Mike Weir and Stephen Ames, if you looked at their seasons, I think individually you would say they weren't too great. Mike Weir, you know, still missed a lot of cuts, but if you look at where he was a year ago, I think, to where he is now, I think he's made huge strides. He was the low Canadian at the US Open this year, and there were certainly a lot of bright spots, and I think he feels a lot more confident in his game, no more injury problems. His work with Grant Waite seems to finally be turning the corner. So I think optimism reigns for Mike Weir going into next year. For Stephen Ames, there's also optimism, but it's because his birthday is coming up, and that means he'll be turning 50. And really, his coach, Sean Foley, told me about a year ago that this was Operation Champions Tour to get Stephen onto that 50 and over circuit. And of course, he has that home game with the tournament in Calgary. So I think you'll see him play a little bit on the PGA Tour at the start of the year, and then he'll be going in with those old guys as they go along. Now, on a disappointing note, I think we have to group the Web.com Tour players that are Canadians in that as a whole, and really for guys like Adam Hadwin and Matt Hill, Roger Sloan, you can go on, and really not a lot of great performances. I think we were thinking this might be a year when they would take a step up, when they would advance, and when they would show that they could make it to the PGA Tour and to the next level. But really, as a whole, I think really a disappointing season for that group of Canadians. On the other side, PGA Tour Canada gives us reason for optimism again.
Yeah, there was good stories on the Canadian front for PGA Tour Canada. The tour, I think, had a pretty successful first season. You could just tell going to an event that it was a lot more important. The players thought it was a bigger deal, the branding, etc. And on a player front, Mackenzie Hughes, who turned pro just last winter, I mean, he comes in with no status whatsoever, just basically playing on sponsors exemptions through the Team Canada program, plays so well that he ends up winning the Order of Merit. He's got full status on the Web.com Tour next year. Right behind him, Riley Wheeldon, who won out in Fort McMurray, another good young player, this guy from BC. So top two on the money list for Canadians. Pretty good stuff overall.
The other thing that a lot of those young players share, whether they're on the Web.com Tour or even some on the PGA Tour, they have all come through the RBC National Team Program. Let's have a look.
Teeing Up Team Canada, reviewing Canada's national golf program. Brought to you by RBC. Let us help you make your mark.
Golf Canada has been investing in the future of golf while developing top players, starting at the junior and grassroots level. The national team has been an integral part of Golf Canada's strong commitment to the development of Canada's best amateur players. Program graduate Mackenzie Hughes attributes much of his successful summer to the help he received from the Golf Canada program.
A lot of that stuff we did as part of the amateur team, that that bleeds into what I need to do as a professional golfer. Time management, being efficient with your time. It's not just, hey, go play good golf. It's being well-rounded, and so Team Canada taught me that. Derek Ingram, the coaches, Robert Ratcliffe. That's what they do, is they make you more efficient and not only a better golfer, but they prepare you to make the next step.
Corey Connors is currently the top-ranked Canadian amateur in the world and has had a phenomenal summer, reaching the semifinals at the U.S. Amateur. The 21-year-old Ontario native finished runner-up in the 2013 Canadian Amateur and the Men's North and South Amateur Championship.
It's been awesome. The support we get, the things we're able to learn really gives us an advantage over competition, just the sports science stuff and just how you need to train your body to perform well, and the technical aspects, and then all the equipment that we get to do our best has been super helpful.
Jennifer Kirby is another graduate of the program and had an impressive list of accomplishments throughout her amateur career. After being viewed as one of Canada's brightest young players, she turned professional this summer and won her first event.
Now that looking back, I realize, how many opportunities they've given me, and the support staff that they have is excellent, and just the little things that you never really think about that you learn along the way, like how to feed yourself on the course, how to train and really prepare for a week, and taper into events and stuff like that. I think that's really helpful, and of course, obviously I got to travel around the world with them, so that was really awesome to represent my country that way.
Eric Banks has been on the team since the development stage and is now competing at the University of Florida in the tough Southeastern Conference.
It was just awesome being able to go down to Port St. Lucie. I remember that's where we went for all the training camps, and kind of get out of the snow, actually hit some shots around the greens. It's way better than hitting balls inside. Even just coming now when I'm in university, and I'm so privileged to have nice weather all year round, and just coming out here with the guys and kind of mixing it up with a couple Canadian buddies and stuff like that, and just having people to travel to tournaments with is awesome.
Garrett Rank has had the chance to compare his game to many others worldwide and wouldn't be where he is today without Team Canada's help.
It's just opened up so many doors. You get high-level competition and training. You work with great people like all our sports staff, and just getting out there and being able to travel and meet different players and playing in different tournaments just helps tremendously.
Brooke Henderson has been a strong part of the Canadian team, becoming the youngest player ever to win the Canadian Amateur Championship at the age of 15 and the youngest player ever to win a professional golf tournament.
Team Canada has been amazing. They've provided me with coaching staff and scheduling opportunities and tournaments that I never thought would be possible, that I was able to go to and compete at the highest level at.
I think a lot of the American guys are, they're not jealous, but they're very curious as to what we do as a part of our amateur teams.
With golf returning to the Olympics in 2016, the intention of the program is to provide the best possible support and services to athletes and assist them in attaining their long and short-term goals, producing some of the best amateur players in the world. And that's exactly what the national team has showcased to the world this past summer. Up next, our final Molson Tee-Off match play of the season between two young NHLers, Matt Bolesky and BJ Crombeen. Welcome back to SCOREGolf TV. Well, one of the most popular additions to our program this year, as you have told us through your tweets and your emails, has been the Molson Canadian 67 Tee-Off season, where we pit two NHL players head-to-head in a three-hole match. And it's been a great season. We've had some wonderful performances from the likes of Mike Camilleri and Joffrey Lupul and Cody Franson, and on the list goes. But we have one more for you today. It's an up-and-comer, Matt Bolesky, versus a tough guy, BJ Crombeen.
The Tee-Off season is brought to you by Molson Canadian 67, proud sponsor of golf. and the official sport of the Gaia.
Hi, I'm Matt Bolesky from the Anaheim Ducks, number 39. I think I have Mr. Crombeen right where I want him.
Hi, I'm BJ Crombeen, number 19 with the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I'm yet to lose a bet to Matty.
Welcome to another segment of the Tee-Off season here on SCOREGolf TV, and today I'm centering a pair of NHLers with very strong ties to the Barrie area. We're here at Barrie Country Club. Matt Bolesky of the Anaheim Ducks, an area boy and a member of Barrie Country Club, and BJ Crombeen of the Tampa Bay Lightning, who played 4 years in the OHL with the Barrie Colts. And I'm going to start with you, BJ, a very popular player during your time here in Barrie, but today it's kind of an away game for you because this guy's a member. How are you going to overcome that?
I've been lucky that I've been able to get out here a little bit, and we actually played a game out here yesterday, so hopefully he doesn't have too big of an advantage playing at his home course.
Well, as mentioned, Matt Bolesky is a member at Barrie Country Club, and Matt, we're playing a 3-hole match day, 16, 17, and 18. What's the closing trio like here at the club?
The closing trio's probably the hardest 3 holes combined on the course. We're starting with the hardest hole here, par 3, and long par 4, and then a big uphill par 5 to end it, so it'll be exciting.
Okay, well, as a member, we're going to give you the honors, so we're starting here on the 16th hole. Fire away. Cutting in there.
Good kick.
Oh, maybe a bit deep. Good swing, though.
And now Crombeen is up.
Oh, that's a good swing. Oh, that's really good there. So 2 pretty good shots here just off the green, Matt. Basically a chip off. You got better hands than this guy or what?
I guess we'll find out here.
All right, well, good luck. Play well. Ooh, good shot there.
Take that one.
Pressure on me.
Slow down a bit. Slow down a bit.
Little meat on that one.
Crombeen needs this putt to put some pressure on his buddy.
Ooh, still some work.
Well, not much left for Matt here. Do you think it's a bit of a slider, though? I noticed you didn't give it to him, so he's got to earn it, I guess.
We decided there's gonna be no gimmies, so I'm hoping he feels the pressure of the camera and yanks it.
No way.
Oh, in the heart.
Side door.
1-up lead for Matt Bolesky.
On the second hole, Bolesky pulled his ball into the woods while Crombeen hammered one down the middle.
Oh, I like that ball there. Very typical of match play golf. Matt Bolesky wins the first hole. He's on a high, but then his tee shot found a bit of trouble here on the next hole. You said Tiger was your favorite golfer. Are you going to be able to manufacture something like Tiger would here, or what's your play?
I'm getting pretty good at these shots from here, so hopefully I'll just get it out in the fairway and have a shot at the green.
All right. Oh, good out.
Take it.
Okay, so BJ, you're lying 1 there, and a few yards behind you, Matt is now lying 2. Do you think this is what he meant when he said he has you right where he wants you, or?
I would probably flip that and say it's right where I want him. Hopefully I can take advantage of it and get this back to even.
Matt, what do you think? Do you think you might be able to grind out a half here?
Maybe, but hopefully I can get the putter in BJ's hand. I might have a chance. I like it.
Good looking swing. Good looking swing.
Keep going.
Get up a bit. Okay, good shot.
Shot.
Here's Crombeen's approach.
Little punch shot there.
Oh, he's over it.
Now it comes down to who has the better short game.
Go.
I think that's gotta go.
Go. Oh, it's coming back.
Coming back at him.
That's not the putt Bolesky was hoping for there. Crombeen with a delicate chip.
Settle a bit.
That's it.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
And this ball just keeps rolling and rolling.
It's not what I was looking for.
It won't stop.
Still, Crombeen will win this hole if he makes this par putt.
Gotta go left a bit.
It's gonna come in.
Yeah, that's a good putt.
Take that.
All right, well, if I don't make this, I'll give you that one.
I like that.
have some sportsmanship out here.
You heard the man. If Bolesky misses, he'll concede the hole.
Got a chance.
Oh, that was a good putt. Really good putt. Concession it is, and we go on to the final hole all square.
Both gentlemen crushed their tee shots, but found the left rough amid some trees on the par 5 finishing hole.
No hesitation from Matt here, pulling at the fairway. Do you think that's a wise play? I don't know.
You know what? It's a gutsy play. There's a lot of trouble around the green up there, and I get the advantage of waiting to see what he does to make my decision if I'm going to go for it.
I like how you just reminded him that there's a lot of trouble up there, he said.
There's a lot of green, too.
A lot of green, all right. Oh, boy.
Good.
Oh, boy.
Get going.
Oh, that is Tour.
That's a nice shot.
Bolesky blasted his ball from around 250 yards out and sits nicely on the green.
Matty hit a pretty good shot there up on the green, so I'm going to have to get a little aggressive and try to sliver it through the trees. So got the hybrid out here. Hopefully can hit a good shot and get it up there.
Oh, that is a great shot.
Does it have the legs?
Oh, these guys came to play on 18. Nice shot, man.
Crombie now putting from well off the green for eagle.
Is it gonna come left?
It's gonna come down a bit.
Yeah, that's a good effort. Above the hole, though. He's above the hole.
And now Bolesky can win this match if he drills his eagle attempt.
Yeah, he's trickling it. That's a good-looking putt. Oh, really good. Rolls out a little bit, maybe a little more than he wanted it to.
I'll take it.
All right. Pressure's on.
This birdie putt is a must for Crombie if he wants a chance to send this match to a playoff hole. Oh no, he missed it.
Look at the power lip out.
Now I get a read.
Now all Bolesky needs is this short putt for the win. But it's no gimme on these speedy greens.
So, what, 2 feet for the win? You just had this putt from a little farther away. Is it straight in? Or?
It was a pretty easy putt, so it's definitely not looking too good for me right now.
Okay, we'll see what happens.
Are you just saying that?
A lot of movement.
And now for the win.
There it is. The club member wins. Matt Bolesky, 1 up. Well, BJ, you put up a valiant effort, but you came up short. How's it feel to lose to this guy?
It's not good. I said earlier that I hadn't lost to him, which might have been a little stretch, but he deserved it. He put a nice birdie in on the last hole to win it.
Yes, with a very impressive birdie on the par 5 finishing hole at Barrie Country Club. Matt Bolesky, it is our pleasure to award you with this SCOREGolf Tee-Off Season Match Play Trophy, as well as an RBZ fairway wood, although I'm not sure you need it after that shot in on 18. And as an added bonus, you get a day at the TaylorMade Canada headquarters Matt Fitting Center. You came through at your home club. How does it feel?
Feels good. Feels right, you know. No, it would have been pretty bad taste in the mouth to lose at home. So.
Okay, quick question. More nervous over that putt to win or your first playoff game in the NHL?
First playoff game for sure. I do this for fun.
I would like to think so. Thanks guys for joining us here on SCOREGolf TV.
After this break, Sean Foley and Stephen Ames give us a couple of tips out on the range. These days, Sean Foley teaches some of the biggest names in the game, from Tiger Woods to Justin Rose to Hunter Mahan and most recently Lee Westwood. But he got his start with the big name players with Stephen Ames, our Canadian friend from Calgary, and recently the two of them got together to talk about some instruction.
Johnny Walker presents Progress Your Game. Great game. Keep walking.
One of the key things that can make people improve in a game where we generally don't improve as quickly as we should is you have to recognize there's 2 different types of practicing. There's a block practice, which is highly technical, and a variable practice, which is where we get rid of technique and we try to simulate the experience of playing golf. So for example, in a block practice, I would set up, and we talked about the takeaway being club head, arms, torso, hips. That would be a technique practice. So if I was doing that, I would be doing probably a couple hundred reps. I could do it in my backyard or my living room, but just learning to create the sequence, focused on getting the club light. I could do it in front of a mirror, and I could almost do it without a golf club. Those repetitions are gonna change the patterns in how you move. But going to the golf course and thinking about those things aren't normally great. So we go to the range, we pull out our 7-iron, we hit 50 balls at the same target, a couple of drivers, and we go out of the course. First hole, we have a 4-iron. Second hole, we have a 3-iron. Next hole, we have a sand wedge. But we're not giving ourselves performance confidence because we're not practicing that way. So to simulate the experience, you have to obviously focus on getting into your routine, going through your whole routine, seeing the shot, feeling the shot, and then executing the shot. And my advice to you would be to change your target and your golf club on every shot. So hitting a bucket of balls this way could take you close to an hour. And you'll notice quite quickly that you get a false confidence on the range because you're hitting a ball every 8 seconds with the same exact golf club and you think that you're improving. But when you go from 3-iron to sand wedge to driver to 3-wood to 4-iron, there's much more variance there. There's different feels, different ball positions. So what happens is you don't ever result in getting any confidence. If you can get to the point when you practice in the variable practice where 7 out of 10 shots are getting within 30 feet of your target as you're changing clubs and targets each time, you'll be improving beyond where you ever thought you could be. Steven did a lot of really good things as well. I mean, you couldn't hit the golf ball that good if it was just talent alone. So he had very little movement off the golf ball, which is, to me, is an absolute fundamental. There's really no reason that the head should ever move off the golf ball, I think. So you can see here how he's pivoting in the backswing. You see how his shoulders are still on this tilted angle here, okay? And this is really the gist of it, is trying to get the body to swing the golf club rather than the arms. So the arms basically nice and close at setup. The only real role of the hands and arms is to go ahead and accumulate angles, which are levers, which are gonna help to obviously create speed on the way through. Or I shouldn't say create speed, but transfer the energy from the ground out through the body into the golf club. There's certain non-mechanical types of ways that people can improve their ball striking without thinking about technique. So for example, Steven here is just hitting what I call a rounded 3/4 shot. So what that ensures is that the hands and arms work back around the body on this side, they round off around the body, and then because there's a 3/4 finish, the body has to be in the right position to break all the extra momentum on the outside. So this is a great practice thing for anyone. Focuses a lot on how the body works and on proper impact position. Yeah, that's pure.
Hi, I'm Akil Rahim, PGA Canada teaching professional at Salem Ridge Golf and Academy, and I'm here with my fellow teaching professional, Clint McCormick. Today we're going to talk about the importance of getting properly aligned to your target. More and more today we see touring professionals using their caddy to help them line up, and what you can do is you can use a friend when you go to the range to help you line up properly to that target.
At this point here, this is where the friend can really help his fellow player make sure that A, his feet are lined up in the correct parallel position to the target line, B, his knees are over top of his toes, and also his shoulders are also parallel with everything. At this point here, we can lay down the alignment stick. My fellow playing partner can come behind and really see to make sure that he got set up in the right way. For more advice, come see me, Akil, or your local PGA of Canada professional.
After this break, we'll wrap up the 2013 season with a look ahead into the upcoming 2014 year. For most of this program, we've been taking a look back at the year that was, but Jason, Logan, right now we want to take a look ahead at the 2014 season, or should I properly say the 2013-14 season, because one of the big stories is the calendar change.
Yeah, there's no need to put the remote down anytime soon, folks, because whereas in years past the PGA Tour had a 2.5 to almost 3-month off season, now the off season is a grand total of 2 weeks. So just after the Tour Championship, just after the President's Cup, begins the fall portion, I guess the 2013 portion of the 2013-14 season. So a little bit confusing, but it means that you're going to get to watch golf sooner.
One guy who has played well, very well this year, and we're looking forward to seeing what he can do next year is Graham DeLette.
Yeah, and the question surrounding Graham DeLaet next year is, can he move from being a top 50 player, which is very, very impressive, to a top 20, maybe even a top 10 player down the road? Can he contend in major championships, which he really hasn't done to date? And listen, it's not just you and I or Canadian media talking about Graham DeLaet. He is the one of the subjects that gets talked about again and again by all the American media, the big papers, the big networks. They all pinpoint this guy as being one of the next superstars on the PGA Tour.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what Graham DeLaet does, what David Hearn does. There's lots of big stories out there. And speaking of other major winners, we talked about Tiger breaking his drought, but what about Lee Westwood or Luke Donald or Sergio Garcia? What about some of the other young guns like Jordan Spieth and Billy Horschel and some of these young players? Will they get into the major conversation? Lots to talk about, lots to look forward to as we focus on the 2013-14 PGA Tour season.
Week Speaks is brought to you by Bushnell, makers of the Pro 1M and Tour Z6 rangefinders.
Well, that's it for another season here on Score Golf TV. We want to thank you all for watching over the course of this year. We hope you've enjoyed the program. Now listen, folks, let me give you a little bit of advice as we leave you for another year. If you want to play great golf in the spring, the time to start working on that is right now. Yes, I know that the golf courses will soon be covered in snow and you won't be able to play, but there's lots of things you can do to help your game improve. First of all, go inside, find an indoor golf school. Things like TrackMan, video analysis, working with a PGA of Canada pro will really help your game. You know, it's not that great to hit into a net. I know it's not that much fun, but if you're not worried about ball flight, you're more concerned about where your golf swing is, it just might improve, so try that. Something else you can do between now and then, of course, is work on your fitness. Now, here's a system I use. You're finding it in a lot of locker rooms at PGA Tour events. It's called T-Zone. It's a vibrating plate system. It'll help loosen up your muscles before you work out. It'll also help build up your core, your legs, all those muscles that you need for a good golf swing. So work on your fitness, no matter whether you use that or you hit the gym. Lots of great stuff from Score Golf between now and the start of the next year. We have, of course, our fall edition, which is going to be at golf facilities any day now. Look for that. And around December 1st, we'll also have our fall annual. That'll be on newsstands. It's great if you happen to be looking to enter a golf pool. We rank the top players from 1 to 100, so check that out, and you might win some money in your golf pool thanks to us. And of course, digital editions. Yes, we are now digitally available. Go to the iTunes App Store, look for all the past issues, all the current issues, and even a special holiday gift guide. That's it for this week on Score Golf TV. That is it for this year on Score Golf TV. We will look forward to seeing you again next spring right here on TSN.
Thanks for watching Score Golf on TSN, the voice of Canadian golf. Score Golf is brought to you by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. Bob Weeks Clothing supplied by Ashworth.